Okay, to get back to Mingus,
Mm-hmm.
I had known Bobby Jones in New York. He made all the jam sessions. In fact, his phone number was Waxtree, Waxtree. He didn't have to dial area codes in those days. And he could tell you, he was like Jazzline. He'd tell you who was jamming where and where the jam sessions were.
Uh-huh.
And you'd always run into Bobby. And he had a long ponytail and looked like a hippie. In fact, I had very long hair at the time, too.
Wow.
So we would look at a place, we'd be dressed in jeans and T-shirts and look like, like we played with the Grateful Dead or something. And we go to a session and the guys would say, okay, thinking that we must be like terrible. What do you guys want to play? And Bobby would say, the way you look tonight, dee-dee, bo-bo-be-do-da. So these two hippies would burn these cats up, And, there were really like a lot of good players in New York in those days. Anyway, back to Mingus. So I knew Bobby, and I had brought my horn. I always have my horn with me to the jazz workshop, and I wanted to say hi to Bobby. And I sort of knew McPherson. I had met Charles a couple times.
Okay.
I didn't really know him. I said to Bobby, "Gee, I'd really like to meet Mingus. I'd love to ask him some questions and stuff." And he says, "No, he's not speaking right now. He's not talking. In fact, he's not saying anything. But I'd like to hear you play. If he heard you play, he would, you'd enjoy that. Let me ask you if he'll let you sit in the last set."
Wow.
So it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday night,
Yeah.
and
Did you get nervous?
oh, extremely. Sure.
Right, of course.
Yeah, I was very nervous. I was extremely
A
nervous.
guy like Mingus.
Fortunately, I wasn't that aware of Mingus's music yet.
Oh, okay.
I knew about him from Jazz at Massey Hall.
Yeah.
And I read about him because I used to read all the jazz magazines. So I read this interview with him in a magazine called Jazz Magazine, where he talked about Oscar Pettiford, he talked about fighting, and he talked about, but I hadn't heard much of Mingus's music at all. I heard one record, but that was enough to scare me. I'd heard The Black Saint and the Sinner Lady, because I was really into Charlie Mariano, still am. And Charlie was on that, and so that was a big thing. But other than that, I really didn't know Mingus's tunes or anything, So Bobby introduced me to Mingus, who's just grunting. He's not saying anything. So this is my friend Bob. He said, he would like to sit in. Would you think it would be possible? Mingus says, "Got your horn?" I say, "Yeah." He says, "Go ahead." So I get up on the bandstand, and Mingus calls Reincarnation of a Lovebird, which is in F sharp minor concert.
Oh, man.
And on the record they go biddy-ba-doo-ba-dee,
And of course you didn't know the song. You didn't know the song.
No, and it's like an unusual bar structure.
Right?
Too.
Oh, shit.
It doesn't, but he gave me a lead sheet.
Oh, okay.
In fact, he gave me an alto part.
Oh,
There was
that's
an alto
nice
part.
of him.
Yeah. McPherson knew it by heart, so McPherson handed me the part, and he said, he gave me his part. And Mingus goes, 1, 2, 1. Etc. To my credit, the only thing I did right, I must have missed half of the changes, but at least. But I started at the beginning and I ended at the end. I didn't get lost. I sure left a lot to be desired. I'm sure I did not really make it, but I left a lot, but I got from the beginning to the end without getting hopelessly lost. So then Mingus relaxed and played a blues, and then we played ba ba da ba 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 boo be da boo be da da, and it was mostly a feature from McPherson, but he let me share it. And we finished the thing, and Mingus says, "See you tomorrow."
Wow.
So I came back. Does that mean he wants me to come tomorrow? So yeah, I went back and I played again. And then I ended up having dinner in Chinatown with Mingus, and we still didn't talk because he wasn't talking. We walked to Chinatown and just grunt. We go, good food, like two cavemen. And then finally he said to me, "Listen, McPherson's going to be leaving the band, and I have a tour of Europe this summer, and I'd like you to replace Charles."
Wow.
And I said, "Wow, really?"
Like that.
Like that. So I took the music. He said, "Get yourself a passport." I didn't have a passport, so he said, "Get yourself a passport. We're going to Europe." So I was all ready to go to Europe, but then I got a call from Sue, his wife, And she said, Charles has decided to postpone the trip to Europe
Oh.
because his book has come out. And he got a chance to do the Dick Cavett show, which was a talk show, a very popular talk show in the United States at that time. So it would be a good thing for him to do, his talk show would be better than a tour of Europe. So I didn't go with him then. I was 19. But when I was 20 and I moved to New York, then I think I just turned 21, and I sat in with him at the Village Gate. He was at the Village Gate, and he had a band now. McPherson wasn't on it, but he had no alto player. He had George Adams and trumpet player Ron Hampton. He had Don Pullen, this and that. And anyway, I sat in with them, and then Mingus said he was going into the 5 spot for an extended engagement 5 nights a week. Did I want to do that? So I had remembered the music. I had memorized the music. And, I said, sure. So I worked the next 7 months with Mingus at the 5 spot.
5 nights a week?
5 nights a week. But Don Pullen and I didn't really get along.
The piano player.
Yeah, I mean, I won't really go into it because it's, it's not nice to speak ill of the dead.
Okay.
And, but we just had a personality conflict. And Mingus explained to me he had to fire me because if he were to lose Pullen, he would lose George Adams too, because those guys were together. And they were going to California, so Mingus said, we can't really bring you there. We're going to. And I was upset.
Yeah, of course.
Years later, we made up and everything. But then I was out of. I left Mingus in July, and then the end of August, I got a phone call from a drummer named Stan Gage, and he said Chet Baker's in town. And Chet Baker's tenor player, Phil Urso, just went back to Colorado. Doesn't want to be in New York, and Chet needs a horn player. So you want to, if you want, we're playing at this place called the Town Crier in East Islip, Long Island, on the weekend. We played Saturday nights there. So I took the LIR, Long Island Railroad, on a Saturday night out to East Islip and sat in with Chet. And then he said, come back next Saturday.